So a week ago I recorded a short post like this on the topic of psychological safety, beginning a bit of a journey for myself into the question of how do teams, and in particular leadership teams, create the kind of psychological safety that enables them to perform at their best, to play at their best, to become a team that really hums. And I have to say, in beginning that exploration, I feel like I've opened a Pandora's box. There are so many angles and threads to this question, and that's only been, I guess, reinforced by the phenomenal amount of support and engagement I've had from different people who saw that post, questions, direct messages, thoughts, ideas, suggestions. It's brilliant and really inspiring, so keep them coming. I think in this second post what I want to do is begin to tackle the question of how do we approach this, but without suggesting for a minute that there is an easy way to box up this, or that there are 5 or 7 tips to achieving psychological safety in the workplace. But I do think as a starting point, the thing that has really been going through my mind is there's 2 ways you could approach this. One is, how do we create safety? What is safety and how do we make it happen? But I think by having that conversation on its own and first up, the danger is that it isn't anchored in anything real. I think a far more important starting point on this theme or this topic is to ask a question about what is the risk, what are the dangers that we want to take, what are the challenges we want to confront as a team, as an organisation. Because I think the word safety connotes that there is a risk and a danger for some people, if not everyone. And I wonder whether the most powerful thing leaders can do, or teams can do, and of course when I say leaders, I don't just mean leaders with a capital L, I mean small L leaders, people leading from any direction, any role. I think one of the most powerful things that you can be doing is to start a conversation about what are the things that we want to be able to do as a team to be performing at our best. How do we need to roll as a team? And in what way are some of those things potentially challenging, risky, dangerous for people sitting in this room? If we're going to have debate over particular important issues to us, how might that be challenging to people in this room? If we want to be able to challenge the status quo, how might that be challenging? If we want to be able to give each other feedback, frank and honest feedback, how might that be risky or dangerous to other people in the room? Let's talk about that, and let's normalise the conversation about the existence of risk. I think there's something very powerful about a senior leader who is able to acknowledge the existence of risk, and to do so in a way that is both empathetic. So to say, hey, I feel that, I experience that, and I see that others do as well. And in doing so, it's vulnerable. It says, hey, I am just as prone, just as susceptible, just as sensitive to some of these interpersonal or emotional or psychological dangers and challenges associated with some of these tough conversations as anyone in this room. I'm reminded as I kind of share that idea of a program that I've been involved in for a few years, where we take the leaders on the program out onto a high ropes course. And the facilitator of that high ropes course is brilliant, because one of the things that he does exceptionally well is to not only provide people with a sense that it's all right, we got this in terms of safety issues. You've got the harnesses, you've got the setup, we've got all the processes in place to ensure that safety. That's a physical piece. But I think there's a psychological and emotional piece that he does really well, and that is, as people arrive at the high ropes course, a whole bunch of people have that sinking feeling in their stomach. As people arrive, one of the first things he does is he acknowledges the fact that for people right now, there are all sorts of reactions going on because they are staring into the face of what seems like danger. And that danger is normal. In fact, he reframes it. It's not about a fear of heights. He calls it a healthy respect for heights. And that reframe enables everyone to go, well, if you're an experienced operator in this and you acknowledge that it's normal to be scared of heights, then suddenly it's okay for me to turn to some of my mates, my peers, my colleagues, and say, yeah, I am too. I have that healthy respect for heights. Because then the question can become, how do you manage it? And I think that's really powerful. So there's a thought in terms of starting us off on this, which is, how do we not just talk about creating safety, but how do we talk about providing honest, explicit acknowledgement of the dangers, the risks that we as a team need to take on? Once you have that conversation going, then I think you're much better placed to start thinking about, well, how do we put in place the right kind of processes, the right kind of norms and rules, and how do I, as a leader, let off the right kind of signals to achieve that kind of safety? And that's something I want to keep exploring over the course of the next few posts. So please keep your thoughts, your reactions, your ideas coming, and look forward to continuing this journey with you.